the renaissance for the Indian manufacturing sector indeed has arrived. And you can really see evidence of that. The number of smartphones India is exporting, what is happening in the auto sector. But today it gives me great pleasure to talk about the Waaree Group, a group which is championing the entire energy transition in the world. So to talk about their journey, what makes them a force to reckon with, and what is the really success secret sauce that why the Waaree Group has emerged as one of the most cost-efficient energy transition company. It gives me pleasure now to bring on board the chairman of the Waaree Group, Mr. Hitesh Doshi. What a pleasure, sir. Thank you for meeting ET now.
Thank you very much for coming all the way. Really appreciate
Thank
that.
you very much.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
is all ours. Let's talk about your journey. It started as an idea. Now today it has become a movement. And you, in a sense, are a clear endorsement of that what Indian manufacturing sector could achieve and do at a global level.
India has been a forefront in a manufacturing for many years, and we lost few years. But now with the government policies and the demand across the globe for the alternative supply chains, I think this is a very good opportunity that we, as a whole country, we can become another manufacturing hub for the world. And Waaree was always in a forefront for last 30 years in a manufacturing. Of course, solar we started a little bit late, but whatever we were in manufacturing, we took the leadership at the global level.
I'm going to just tell our viewers that Waaree is indeed a hidden gem in the manufacturing space. Many may not know, but this is one of the biggest exporter of the solar panel in the world now. And when you're competing at a world level, I guess it is all about efficiency and all about really keeping the supply chain and benefits in place. Now, India does not enjoy a great reputation in terms of executing large projects. So how have you achieved to beat China? How have you managed to keep the supply chain intact?
So we came into the business for the European market. In 2007, 2008, when we decided to come in solar, there was no Indian market. So the culture we built in the factory for the quality, delivery on time, certification, approvals, we always has focused as Europe as a market. So for us, that was not a problem of the reputation or whether we will be able to meet their commitments or not. We have been day one there.
Has your business changed completely in terms of a 180-degree move post-COVID because of geopolitical factors, China one policy, and the way things are moving on the supply chain front?
Of course, first thing, COVID plus the energy crisis, Ukraine war, has started thinking about a lot more on alternative energy than the earlier before. The second thing, during the COVID, the world has started discussing about the deglobalization, or I will say the alternative supply chain. So that has helped the Waaree. Since the reputation was built for a 15 years, we came in solar in 2008. So we took almost long time to build that reputation, and solar has a lot of entry barriers in terms of certifications, approvals. So we could achieve all that well in time, bankability, insurance, so many things. Waaree could do that on time, and when this thing has opened up post-COVID, we
So what
are
was
at the
your
right
order
place.
book pre-COVID? It was 10,000 crore, it has become 50,000 crores, right?
Right.
So
right.
in less than 3 years, your order book has gone from 10,000 to 50,000.
Right.
ऐसा क्या हो गया? ऐसा क्या change हो गया?
Okay, Waaree ने बहुत कुछ किया, but I will not touch that.
हाँ.
But I will say that globally the awareness for the solar energy has gone up. Number one, energy prices has increased. Number three was that due to the certain challenges faced by the customers during the COVID time, they decided to have the more suppliers. And of course, the Waaree was their choice.
So are you adding more business from the existing customers or new customers have come?
Both. Existing customers are also growing. For example, we say that in 2011-12, they were talking about kilowatt. Our customers moved to the megawatt and gigawatt.
So what is this plant? I can see that a solar panel is getting manufactured here, right?
Right.
तो जो घर पे हम लगा देखते हैं, बिल्डिंगों पे लगा देखते हैं, this is the solar panel you are making here.
Absolutely.
So one solar panel will generate how much electricity?
This is a 540, 550 watt panel.
Okay.
Typically, when you put a 1 kilowatt system, you get the 4 units.
Okay.
So घर में हम कहते हैं बिजली का बिल कितना आ रहा है. So typically 2 or 3 bedroom house, if they put a 3 kilowatt, that is a 6 panels like this. It's more than enough for their electricity
6
requirement.
पैनल ऐसे लगा दो घर का इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल इज टेकन केयर ऑफ. एसी
Absolutely.
लगाएंगे तो
AC आ गया इसमें.
AC
3
आ गया
किलोवाट.
इसमें.
जी जी जी.
Okay. The entire industry right now has an import dependence also.
Right.
Right. Your import dependence is still 40%.
जी
You're trying to bring it down.
जी.
In import dependence, you are still dependent on China. So one side you're competing with China, and second side you're importing from China.
Right.
How is the equation working?
एक जर्नी होती है इंडस्ट्रीज को एक पूरा 100% इंडिजनाइज करने की. फॉर एग्जांपल आज हमें सोलर सेल लगते हैं, इंगॉट लगेगी, पॉलीसिलिकॉन लगेगा. सिमिलरली हमें ग्लास चाहिए, ईवीए चाहिए, बैटरी चाहिए, ये सारे मशीन्स आप देख रहे हैं, ये चाहिए. तो इसका एक टाइम होता है और वो टाइम धीरे धीरे शुरू हो गया है. फॉर एग्जांपल आज इंडिया में ईवीए बनना शुरू हो गया, ग्लास की फैक्ट्रियाँ लग रही है, सोलर सेल, वेफर, इंगॉट की फैक्ट्री हम लोग लगा रहे हैं. तो ये 2 या 3 साल की जर्नी होती है. तो डेफिनेटली मेरा ये मानना है कि अगले 2 से 3 साल में इंडिया विल बी एब्सोल्युटली इंडिपेंडेंट इन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सोलर मॉड्यूल्स फ्रॉम द सैंड.
So you can actually make from sand to the solar module.
सोलर मॉड्यूल.
आप बना पाओगे.
एब्सोल्युटली.
So where are you right now?
एट प्रेजेंट हम लोग आज की तारीख में सेल से मॉड्यूल पे है. अगले 6 महीने में हम लोग सेल बनाना शुरू कर देंगे. सेल के बाद हम लोग वेफर, इंगॉट में जाएंगे और उसके बाद पॉलीसिलिकॉन और मेटालिक सिलिकॉन में जाएंगे.
Okay. You currently have a capacity of 9 gigawatts.
राइट.
You will expand it. You will do backward integration.
जी.
So with 9 gigawatt, what is your turnover? And if it goes to 18 gigawatts soon, what
Yeah.
will be your turnover?
पहले टर्नओवर क्या है मैं आपको बता देता हूँ. First of all, the present capacity is 9 gigawatt and it is going to be the 12 gigawatt in coming months because it is getting
FY24.
no, in next 2 months maximum, because machines are already in,
Okay.
they are getting installed. So absolute अगर मॉड्यूल की प्राइस अगर हम बात करते हैं तो मॉड्यूल अगर 2.5 करोड़ रुपया पर मेगावाट है तो 9 गीगावाट अगर फुल कैपेसिटी यूटिलाइज होती है तो 9 गीगावाट पे भी वो टर्नओवर का नंबर 9,000 मल्टीप्लाई बाय 2.5 करोड़ होता है. बट इनफैक्ट वो टर्नओवर नहीं है क्योंकि कैपेसिटी यूटिलाइजेशन आज हम पूरा नहीं कर पा रहे.
Okay.
तो उस हिसाब से जब 20,000 मेगावाट पे हम लोग एंड ऑफ द ईयर पहुंच जाएंगे तो पोटेंशियल कंपनी के लिए अगर मॉड्यूल के प्राइस नीचे भी जाता है और 2 करोड़ रुपए का भी पर मेगावाट मॉड्यूल होता है तो पोटेंशियल वहाँ 40,000 करोड़ का खुल जाता है.
Energy prices, at least solar energy prices, have come down by 90% in last 10 years.
Right.
They will come down further.
Right.
If energy prices they continue to come down,
Right.
what will be the price of a solar panel? Because that also has to come down.
The solar panels are sold on a per watt basis.
Okay.
Right. So when I started this industry in 2007, we were selling at 250 rupees a watt,
Okay.
which I said today it is at 25 rupees, for example. So from 200 to 250. And I was telling when I came in this industry that in our lifetime, we will see the solar energy price at 80 paisa,
Okay. They are 2.5 rupees right now.
which is 2.5 rupees.
So you see that in next few years it could come down to 80 paisa.
Not to, I am saying in our lifetime.
Lifetime. Okay.
So maybe 10 years or 12 years from today, we'll see these prices coming. How this will come? The technology has been changed a lot and they're constantly going up. And the whole idea of the technology is that how we reduce the cost of the electricity generated from the solar.
But Mr. Doshi, if I look at the basic components which are required to make a solar panel, and I think just explain to us what is happening here, then I will talk about it. What are we doing here, sir?
So this is a stage where we're doing the back sheet.
Okay.
On that line, we are making a glass-to-glass module,
Okay.
which is a bifacial,
Okay.
where we need to generate the power from both the side of the glass.
Okay.
So that line is producing a glass-to-glass. This line is producing glass-to-backsheet.
Okay.
Because certain applications, they don't want to generate the power from the backsheet. So there is a backsheet. This is a solar cell.
Okay.
EVA
And this will
and the
then
glass.
eventually this is the one where the solar panel comes from.
And now this is a final solar panel is going
Okay.
to be made.
Now there is a cost of steel, there is a cost of paper, there is a cost of plastic. You were selling it for 25 rupees, you're selling it 250 rupees, has become 25 rupees.
Right, right.
But beyond the point, the cost of plastic, paper, transportation will not come down.
No, it has increased.
It has increased. So then how will you keep up with the basic requirement which is there?
Okay. Let us say this is a 2 meter by 1 meter panel, or
Okay.
any panel we are saying.
Okay.
15 years back, in 2 meter by 1 meter, we were producing a 270 watt. Today we are producing a 550 watt. So eventually it became a double.
Because on the same panel you
So
are
you are using
increasing
the same size of the glass, same size of the aluminum, but the output has doubled.
So I'm going to explain it to our viewers with a simple example of storage capacity. What we were paying for a 1 GB storage capacity versus what we are paying right now.
You have,
The
you have picked
capacity
up the
has
right point.
increased,
Yeah, yeah.
and it is only technology which is enabling it. So
Absolutely.
fantastic point.
Yeah.
You don't have debt on your balance sheet.
Not yet.
Why is that? And why are you planning to go public if you don't need cash? If you don't have that, that means you don't need cash,
So
but you're going public.
Yeah, our expansion plans, if you look, now we are planning to invest around 8,000 crore additionally.
Okay.
This complex which you have visited today, this one complex, we have the 4 facilities nearby. We are investing here 3,500 crores. The new complex which we are building up, there we are investing 8,000 crore. And definitely at that level, we need equity and debt.
Okay.
So that to meet that equity requirement, we are going for the pre-IPO round as well as the IPO also.
You've done one pre-IPO round already.
Absolutely.
Okay. So when are you planning to take it public?
Public, most probably by end of this year, we should be in a public. Or maybe by January, let us.
What I also want to understand from you that this industry right now does need a lot of, it needs a stable policy framework.
Right.
US government right now is perhaps giving a lot of initiative for incentive for non-China solar panel manufacturers, whereas you're benefiting because of that. But there is an election cycle next.
Right.
Would that be the biggest risk?
No, fortunately, particularly in the United States market, they look far ahead. So a lot of new orders which we are getting there for 2025, 2026. That's the one thing. The second thing, we have seen the change of the government when we have been in US market for 10 years. None of the government has gone against the solar. So that is very clear thing. Even if the regime change, solar is going to continue. The way the energy prices are going up across the globe, today the solar is the cheapest and nobody can afford to neglect the solar. So I personally don't see that there will be any change in a couple days.
What about India per se? I mean, the ambition of the Indian government is very clear.
Right.
That India needs more energy as we migrate higher in terms of our per capita demand. The dependence on hydrocarbon and thermal has to be reduced. Solar is the necessity.
Right.
But if I look at the progress of the Indian solar industry, somehow it is really lacking. It is lacking in terms of capacity addition and a stable policy framework.
Government is doing a lot. Definitely for manufacturers, we need much more because still the country imports a huge volume from our neighboring countries. And the policies today where if I import the raw material, since the Indian channels are not ready yet, supply chain, I have to pay the huge duties. But if I import the panels through the FTA countries, I don't have to pay the duties. So the policy today, which government is working, and I'm sure it will change. But today the policy is that on a finished product, you can import without the duty. But if you want to make a panel in India, you have to pay the duties and then you have to compete to them, which is really difficult. But with the new policies in a frame, we are sure that we will move towards the Make in India very fast.
You are ultimately, sir, a B2B company.
Right.
And this is a very competitive space, which is that while you're talking about pricing coming down, efficiency kicking in a competitive environment, especially when you have a global bidding, I'm sure your buyers and OEMs would also be capable, would be understanding the way how the cycle is moving. So what happens to your margins? Even though you will add capacity, you think your margins are unlikely to expand?
See, first thing is our customer wants us to be sustainable and give them the service for 25 years. So the product they are buying for the 25 years. They are not buying for so day or two.
Lot of corporate houses in India, generally, Reliance, they've already said that they want to perhaps now venture in this entire solar manufacturing space.
Right, right.
Are you worried, or you think that that is not a competitive threat?
No, I think the overall market size is growing very fast. For example, we are speaking about last year, globally we have done 220 gigawatt installation. By 2030 to meet a minimum goal without the hydrogen story and EV story, we will be reaching to the 1000 gigawatt. So if the pie is so big, going to be the, we need a lot of players in this. So it's a good that the Indian companies are coming up and the globally customer wants a more suppliers from India.
So you
Not only the Indian
you
market.
don't expect a geo kind of a moment happening in this industry.
No, this is little bit different industry and different market.
It's only focused on solar, but you are an energy transition company.
Right.
You are moving into hydrogen. You're moving into battery manufacturing. There are both businesses.
Last 4 years we are working on the battery and today we are producing the lithium ion patch, supplying to the EV resorts, even the first hydrogen plant as with the Waaree batteries. Today more than 40,000 electrical vehicles are running with the Waaree batteries.
14,000 electric vehicles in India are running on Waaree batteries.
Waaree batteries. And this is going to be the increase further. Now we are going into the lithium ion cell production. On a green hydrogen side, we are seeing we'll need a lot of electrolyzers. So these electrolyzers needs to be produced in India. So last 1 year we are working on that. We signed couple of agreements and probably next 1 year we will see the Waaree is shipping the electrolyzers not only in India but outside India.
How large could be that business for you in 3 years? The non-solar business.
I think it will be the equal to the solar.
In 3 years. Okay. Now, whatever you're doing, Hitesh bhai, technology is the heart of it.
Right.
Whether changing the solar module or investing in lithium and other alternate batteries. What is your R&D cost? And do you think you will be able to take that kind of an R&D cost?
Today there are more than 250 people are working in our laboratory and our R&D. And cost-wise, for example, 4 years we have invested only on the batteries. You can imagine how it's going. And going forward, this will increase further.
You are making the business sound very simple for me, right? If the business is so simple, how come not everybody is entering in it?
See this, let us understand the buyers. They are buying the product for 25 years. 70% financing is done by the bankers. So bankers wants to be sure whatever the product is purchased, that product is going to work for next 25 years.
Okay.
So it looks very simple, but that product needs that quality, certification, insurance, field test, ground reports for at least 10 to 15 years, how our panels are performing. And there are a lot of third-party reports about the panel's performance year on year. There you need to be in a Bloomberg list. Waaree is only the Indian company. For last 7 years, constantly coming on every quarter in a Bloomberg Tier 3 one. Out of the globally 30 companies, right? So hundreds of the things are there, which you need to be there. So it looks simple, but it's not.
So what would you say is the most distinctive feature of Waaree?
Customers' trust. Last 15 years, I will say that 90% customers, or maybe 95 plus, customers are the sales. They are not changers.
But what is
And then in India and globally, hundreds of the companies are coming every year to compete us. The customer has kept us constantly. They have grown and Waaree has grown.
But we are talking about an industry which is in energy transition. Energy transition by definition is disruptive.
Right,
All technologies have a shelf life. Locomotive engine had a shelf life.
right.
Televisions had a shelf life. Every energy and technology dominated businesses have a shelf life. What is the technology disruption which could challenge this entire vision of
Yeah.
yours?
When I started in solar and today In a less than a 15 years, I have seen the 5 technology cycles and this. What you are saying today, we know that this will not work after 2 years.
Okay.
So we have already started working on what we will need after 2 or 3 years. And whenever we are doing our financials, in these financials, we always keep in mind कि ये मशीन भाई साहब 3 साल से ज्यादा चलना नहीं है और 3 साल के बाद क्या लाना है that product should be ready today. And that is the key, I will say, integrates Waaree. You have seen in a solar industry in a 15 years, a lot of companies could not sustain. Waaree could not only sustain, but Waaree has grown and constantly made the profits.
तो एक आखिरी
And
सवाल.
the technology is a part of that.
So one last question, and we've not spoken about it. Today, to see a roof or a house which has a roof covered with solar panel is not a novelty. It is a reality.
Right.
Every 10 out of every 1 out of every 10 bungalows in India have a rooftop. छोटा बड़ा वो बात अलग करता है. What is happening in the retail business?
Retail, first you need a service, number one. Number two, you have to go and tell the customer why they should go for solar. So Waaree was not able to do alone. So we created a large franchise network. We created a large training in our another factory in a tomb. And that's the reason today we are enjoying 16, based on the year, from 16 to 25% market share in the retail segment.
60.
1/6.
1/6.
1/6 to the 25.
Tata Power is saying that they have big plans for the entire solar
Absolutely.
place.
Yes, they are going in a rooftop market. And if you look to the market after the Tata Power today, you will find the Waaree name there.
So in simple terms, if you have to explain to our viewers, because everybody wants to reduce the electricity bills, everybody understands the need of making India
Right.
more energy sufficient. So what is the maths of putting a chat ke upar solar power?
The first thing is the green energy.
Okay.
The second thing is a payback depends on the area you are.
Okay.
It is between 2 years to maximum 5 years.
Okay.
If some states are giving very low cost power to the household, there may you go for the 5 years. Then there are the tax benefits. The government is offering accelerated depreciation of the 80%.
So तीन benefits हैं अभी.
And the last thing is that once you pay back is done, then solar panel life, we give the 25 years warranty, but the panels works for 40 years more. So then you have absolutely free power.
Every person has a number. They say every man on Wall Street is chasing a number. So what is that number for, Mr. Doshi? What is the number you are chasing for Waaree Group and for you personally?
To be very honest, I'm not chasing the number. I'm saying that why I do not make the more panels and make this world more greener. So always we have this demand and supply, always a question. Why we are not able to go to everybody like you, to everyone. I tell them, boss, it's not only cheaper or faster or payback and all that, but this is you are contributing for your next generation.
Exactly. We are
So the number is, if we have the roof, it's not a roof, it is a solar power plant. And like you said today, it is a 1 of 10. In my opinion, it is 1 of not even a 200 roof covered today. So the answer to the number is all the roofs across the globe have the solar panel.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Thank you for coming.
Lovely experience for us. And I started the show with this introduction that the Renaissance moment for the Indian manufacturing sector has arrived, and today we've discovered a hidden gem, the Waaree Group, a group which is a formidable force to reckon with when it comes to exports, a group which essentially is got an ethos centered around customer satisfaction, and it's quite extraordinarily amazing to see that what essentially Indian manufacturing sector can achieve, provided they have the right managers.